Hi all, I've just completed some time ago the new indicator that we have created. Before I begin, I would like to mention that this is an educational channel. All content over here is for the sake of education. Kindly read the disclaimer you see on the screen and in the description below. With that said, let's proceed. So we have been working on this pivot indicator for the last couple of days. A lot of trials and errors. Basically, what we wanted was a pivot indicator where one could use more than one pivot method if required. So, for example, if I wanted to combine the usage of Cambrilla and Fibonacci, I should be able to do that. Currently in TradingView, you can't do that. This is how our indicator looks. I'll slowly describe what's happening. I just hope you are able to see the same page that I'm seeing. Yes. So first, let's open a new page. I'll make a copy and I'll just give it some random number because this is just for demo. Okay, so I'll save and then I'll remove all indicators. And first I'll explain what I was trying to do. So say I want to see pivots. I'll choose pivot point standard. This is the way I've saved my Fibonacci. But say I want to use Fibonacci. I don't want everything in the Fibonacci. I just want the S2R2 and S3R3. So this is what I want in Fibonacci. And now I want a Cambrilla S2R2 also. So in this, I will have to go twice. So I'll go to pivot point standard once again. And now I'll say, show me Cambrilla. And in Cambrilla, again, I don't want to see everything. I just want to see S3 and R3 because in Cambrilla, that is what is important. And I'll keep everything else off. And yeah, so this S3 and R3. Now the problem is even if I change color of this Cambrilla S3 R2 R3 to say green, you see on screen it does not change. So that's a drawback of the current pivot indicator. That's one. So now say I want the pivot to be from the traditional, all right? So I want pivot point standard and I want traditional, and from traditional I only want to see pivot, nothing else. Okay, so it's showing me red right now. Say I want it orange, so doesn't change. If it's in red, it stay red. Okay, but you see I had to use 3 separate instances of pivots just to arrive at this. Now the combination of pivots, because you have 6 methods in pivots, all right? You have traditional, Fibonacci, Woody, classic, DM, Caramel. So there is a lot of combinations that can work out for people who generally know pivot. This is just one instance that I've shown you. This is what I would do. Now, this pivot point for Camarilla, traditional and Fibonacci is almost the same. Notice this pivot line over here. So traditional, can it change color to white? No, it's okay. It changed. So traditional, if I say traditional, show me pivot, let me make it some other color. So say purple. So traditional purple, you can see. Now from traditional purple, if I go to say Fibonacci purple, you see it remains where it is. From Fibonacci to Camarilla, it remains, the pivot is the same. Pivot is generally same for 3 methods: Fibonacci, Camarilla, and traditional. For the other 3, it's a slightly different thing. All right, but that aside, the problem was, why should I use 3 instances if I want to use pivot from traditional, Camarilla S3 R3, and Fibonacci S2 R2 S3 R3? Why do I have to use 3 instances of pivot? Why can't I do it in one? Well, now we have a solution. So we'll get rid of all of this, and the solution is our indicator that we have created. So our indicators, some indicators are free, some you need to purchase. Say you purchased an indicator from us, you generally get a text file and you get a documentation in PDF, which is generally a brief literature about how the indicator works or functions. So in this case, this is called the pivot control center. I'll just double click on this. The file will open up. All I need to do is say edit, select all, edit, copy. I need to close this. I don't need this anymore. And then I need to go over here to my trading view. I need to say create an indicator. So, and when you create a new indicator, all this comes up. Just delete all of that and say right click and say paste. So now whatever you pasted, copied from your notepad comes over here, and then you say save script. So it's telling me, do I want to save it at pivot point control center? I'll say yes. I'll just include 1, 2, 3, 4 at the end because I've already saved once prior to this as pivot control center. This one I'm naming differently. I'm calling this pivot control center 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll click on save. Once I click on save and then I click on add to chart, and you see this comes up. Now in this one indicator, what I have going is the traditional pivot is in orange color. It's showing the center line. The green line that you see is Camarilla S3 and R3. And then Fibonacci is showing R2, R3 and S2, R2. I'll just show it to you what all it's showing. So it's in auto mode, and the auto mode in this works exactly like it works on trading view. And most of the things you will not even need to switch bit after this auto to daily, weekly, monthly, but that is there if you want. But auto in this is very powerful. So you see from traditional only the P is ticked. So if I untick this, you see that center line goes off because from traditional I've only picked the pivot, that's the center. From Fibonacci I've chosen S2 R2 and S3 R3. All right. If I undo this, you'll see all the red lines will disappear. And then from Camarilla, S3 R3 is selected. These are the two green lines. If I untick this, you'll see the Camarilla S3 and R3 disappearing. Now the combination from this is like mind blowing. Currently, DM, Classic, Woody, these are all disabled. If I want, I can enable this and say, show me Woody S3 and R3, Woody S2 R2, Woody S1 R1. It will start showing me for Woody also. All right. So the permutation combination in this is like very, very high. However, I'm just making this demo in the way that I would use it, and you are free to try any combination you want. In the current scenario, we are using Camarilla pivots S3 R3. We are using Fibonacci pivots R2 R3, R2 R3 and S2 S3, and then from traditional we are only using this pivot. All right, line width is kept to 1. If you want, you can increase it. I just keep it on 1. I would have chosen different colors, but since I wanted to keep this neutral so that things are visible on both black as well as white background, so I've chosen these colors. Otherwise, generally I choose for Fibonacci, I choose a white color. But for this demo, I've given it red so that it's a color neutral to both white and black backgrounds. In style, you don't have anything. If you just untick this, all the pivot lines will disappear. So that's great. And okay. So now you have a structured pivot that you can use for intraday. Now, if I increase the time, you'll see that it automatically will adjust, and it does exactly what your trading view automation will also do. It's exactly tuned to work how your trading view auto works. All right. We can see it works exactly like that. Now we will first make it powerful and then we will make it ultra powerful. All right. So this is how the indicator works. And It's going to be available on our website, bestindicators.net. If you're an Indian customer, you can buy it from there. And if you're an international customer, you can go to Buy Me a Coffee site and pick it up from there. All right. Now, how do I intend using it? First, I'll make it powerful. There's a free indicator of ours available on TradingView called Trend. This Trend Candles by Moneypot. It's available on TradingView free of cost. Is our indicator. Once you use that, it'll come like this. And you just need to select this indicator, drag it above the instrument you're trading. In our case, it is Nifty. So we have taken the trend candles above Nifty, pivot is down, but the trend candle is on top. And then you see it color codes the candles. The EMA line in this is running at 50 by default. That's the way we have left it at default. So now you see it becomes powerful. You can also use it. Let's switch to the 15 minutes time. You can use it for commodity trading. Commodity, crude oil. Yesterday's crude oil looks like this. Natural gas looks like this. You can see the natural gas taking off. It breaks this Fibonacci R2 and then breaks the R3 and then takes off. Suppose you want to make this indicator work on US markets. This is showing you yesterday's US markets, how it worked on the 15 minutes time frame. S&P 500, this is NASDAQ. This is how Bitcoin is currently working on the 15 minutes time frame. This is how Ethereum is working on the 15 minutes time frame. You can go higher, say you want to see Bitcoin on the hourly time frame. This is how it is currently progressing. It's on the pivot line exactly, and this is how Ethereum is now currently progressing on the hourly time frame. All right, so it's been tested for various markets, UK, US, Japanese, Chinese, everything. We have tested it and it works. Let's go back to our Indian markets that we always use for demo. So we are back to Nifty 50 on this 5 minutes chart. All right, so this is one way how we can make it powerful, by using the free indicator on TradingView, which is using the moving average of 50, and candles above the 50 are shown in green. Candles below the 50 are shown in purple. The other way you can make it powerful, now we'll make it even more powerful. There's an indicator of ours which you can buy, and a lot of people already have bought it, and that is called Time Machine. Where is Time Machine? Yeah, this Time Machine. In my system, I have saved it so many times because of the trials and errors. So this Time Machine 1, 2, 3, 4, I think was the final version. Once you click on that, you see Time Machine opens up. In Time Machine, you don't even need to drag and drop anything. So everything remains the way it is. You don't need to drag this Time Machine above the instrument. There's no need to do that. Now with Time Machine, you see this is Nifty for yesterday. It exactly shows that there was no need to short. If you look at the bottom indicator, there was no shorting opportunity at all on the 5 minutes time frame. On the 3 minute, it slightly dipped over here, but I would have not shorted. On the 10 minutes, it looked like this. Let me reset this. All right, you can see how well the levels are marked. 15 minutes, it looked like this. Now you can, let's go to the commodity again and see crude oil yesterday. Crude oil yesterday on the 15 minutes time frame looked like this. Again, no shorting opportunities. Natural gas, as you can see, totally for the whole day, it was above the zero line, above Time Machine, and then it takes off in the end. Now let's go to the US markets. US 30 looked like this with the pivot and Time Machine. S&P 500 looked like this. NASDAQ looked like this. Bitcoin currently, let's switch to the hourly time frame. Bitcoin in the hourly time frame looks like this. I'm watching this from India, so in India it's this, the cycle starts at 5:30 and ends at 5:30. So this is showing me 5:30 to 5:30, and Ethereum is like this. Again, we reached the state after a lot of work on this particular indicator, so it's not happened overnight, to make it function in the auto section exactly like. If you notice, I've not even changed I've changed the time frame on top, but not even once I've moved out of auto in the pivot control center. It's always been on auto. It automatically adjusts. All right. So that's how things look on Ethereum. This is how things look on Bitcoin currently. Uh, Bitcoin is live. It's 24 hours. Nasdaq like this. Or Nasdaq. Let's look at Nasdaq on the half an hour time frame or the 15 minutes time frame. Nasdaq was like this. S&P 500 was like this, and US 30 was like this yesterday. And now let's get back to our Indian indices. I think this will work on individual stocks also, even though I don't discuss individual stocks. But for the sake of this demo, I'll just show you. Reliance yesterday on the 5 minutes time frame was like this. TCS was like this. I do not follow individual stocks, so I'm just running through them like I only for the sake of this demo. Hindustan Unilever looked like this. Bajaj Finance looked like this. Bajaj Finserv looked like this. On the 5 minutes time frame, let's check a couple of banking stocks also. HDFC looked like this on the 5 minutes. ICICI looked like this. Axis looked like this. SBI looked like this. Mind blowing. Kotak looked like this. Okay. And we'll get back to our indices on the 5 minutes time frame. Nifty looked like this. So in my view, there was no shorting opportunity in Nifty. And this is how this pivots control center becomes very powerful when used with time machine. They both work phenomenally well with each other. So time machine has been the highest seller that we have had so far. So if you're an owner of time machine, you can consider buying pivot control center. It may help you a lot. You don't have to, but you may consider it. People who have not bought anything till now, consider buying pivot control center. And if you can afford, buy time machine with it. If you can't afford time machine, then you can use the free indicator called trend candles on TradingView. That will work very well with the pivot control center. We did not want to dilute pivot control center by adding an EMA or anything like that, because we wanted pivot control center to do one thing, and that one thing well was to give absolute control on all the 6 methods of pivots. So that is what the indicator does. It gives absolute control and freedom. You can have all 6 working, even though it's totally not recommended. Don't go activating all the levels in all the 6 methods. Use it the way it makes sense. Just because you have access to all 6 methods of pivots does not mean you need to go and use everything. I've shown you my approach. I think this is one sensible approach of doing things. This is how I do it. So, and this has come after years of experience. I like watching Fibonacci pivots is my favorite. I've also noticed that Cambrilla S3, R3 are very important. Market behaves a certain way around those levels. And pivot is just to give it a zero line kind of an effect. All right. So there you go, guys. I'll now delete the time machine from here. But yes, time machine would be the ideal partner for this indicator, or trend candles, which is a free version that does not give you the bottom, only works similar to time machine on top. All right. I delete this now. Time machine is something that we are really proud of. The only indicator that can compete with time machine is Fibonacci prime time. There we spent a lot more effort, and that is more inclined towards intraday, but can also do positional and swing. So if you have not checked out the video on Fibonacci prime time, kindly do so. So now I'll take out the time machine from this, and this is now back to square one. Pivot control center looks like this. The colors are adjustable, the thickness of the line are adjustable, and now under one indicator you have access to all 6 methods of pivots. You can activate, deactivate anything you want. By default, I'll just repeat it. By default, the pivot is on in the traditional. In Fibonacci, R2, S2, R3, S3 is activated, and in Cambrilla, R3 and S3 is activated. This is what the default mode looks like. And when you first install the indicator and put it on your chart, it'll look like this. All right. This is an undiluted, pure pivot control center, giving you full access to pivot capabilities. I don't think I've come across any other indicator on TradingView that provides complete full access to all 6 methods of pivots in any combination you want. You can make them all work together or choose any combination you want. I've just shown you a combination that I like, but you can come out with your own combination. You can just use Fibonacci if you want. You can just use Camarilla if you want, or you can combine them like I have and use any combination that you want. You have access to them all in one go or in combinations as you so desire. All right. On that note, I'll end this video. I hope you learned something new from this video, and I hope I could explain the pivot control center to you well. The indicator should be available for purchase on our website, as I mentioned, bestindicators.net. And for international customers, it will be available at Buy Me a Coffee. And that's it, guys. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Like this video as well. Share it with your family and friends too. If you're already a subscriber, consider becoming a member on the channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.